Hi guys, I'm out and about doing the to-do list. It is nearly Christmas and therefore being in the back garden this afternoon is not possible because I've got so many things that I'm doing, including talking to you. So I thought I'd do it in the car and wow. Okay, so Yang Women, day 27 of 30 blog. And this is quite a contentious subject. So today, all feminists might want to switch off this transmission and not listen in because it's going to be talking about our men and manhood. And first of all, I want to really start by saying that this is not about subservience. And also, if ladies, young women at all, you might be in an abusive relationship, this is certainly not something you want to be doing if you are going to take more abuse from your partner. So I just wanted to set up the context of that before I start, but I've got something interesting to read you later on in this transmission. So how are you? Let's take a couple of breaths to get ourselves centered and focused for this transmission. So just connecting with your body, and in previous videos talking about letting the yin in, just take your breath deep down into your feet and into your hands and just allow yourself, wherever you happen to be in this moment, just to be still and be present for a couple of breaths. It's nothing like a couple of breaths to calm and center you when you're particularly out and about like I am today. So how are you doing today? Thank you for joining me on day 27 of this 30-day vlog, and don't forget there are all of the vlogs are being uploaded to YouTube every 2 days, Gina Hardy Yoga. And also, if you want to know who Yang Woman is, then go and have a look at my website, ginahardyyoga.com, and there's a general profile about us directive, strong women who base their energy much more in a masculine way. So we've talked about challenges, we've talked about desires, I've talked about a little bit about how to let the yin in, which is our softer, more receptive side. And then the last 2 or 3 days I've been talking about how we can lead a more authentically feminine life, because I just noticed that young women stand more in their bollocks, in their masculine energy, and that's not always healthy for partnerships, particularly because that's where some of the issues can show up. So talking today about, as one of my male friends said, that I wish a woman would worship my phallus more than she does, and that is quite a contentious subject because ultimately we are not going to be stepping into subservience. And maybe if you're a single woman, it's not about going around grabbing every cock you can get hold of and just swinging them around the room and hoping that that's going to do it for you. I'm talking about being in a fully healthy, loving relationship where there's maybe a balance shift that is required. But one thing I notice about young women is that we can be dominant in bed, dominant out of bed, and there's nothing more than that I don't like to see than henpecked men and men who are kind of just being put down all the time for the way they are, and that can really affect intimacy. And I think that a man's love language is usually lovemaking, sex, and I think that stepping into that power is quite important for them. And again, another one of my spiritual teachers that's in my world at the moment, he said, you know, men are generally heavily identified with their genitals, so it's a thing that happens, you know. It's maybe not for us women so much as men, and yet when we're in a relationship, it's important to honor that, and honor that in not in a condescending way, but honor it in an authentic masculine, an authentic feminine way. And really, girls, you know, when you really pay attention to your man in his manhood, you help him step into his authentic masculine. One thing I find quite tricky with women, and I've said it myself many times, is why can't my man grow a pair? Why can't he step up? Why can't he be more of a man? And it's really interesting because really feminine energy is not yang based, and therefore yang women are all of the masculine energy that that the relationship needs. And a lot of yang women attract yin men who are attracted to their masculinity, which is not necessarily a healthy balance. And don't get me wrong, being a yang woman is not wrong. As I've said before, it's like a balance shift, and it's a delicate balance shift. So the best way you can get a man to step into his authentic feminine is by making the most of his manhood, and really honouring his manhood in bed and beyond, because, and it feels true for me, actually, it really does. And I remember seeing a story in a magazine a couple of years ago where a woman had actually made sure that she made love with her husband every day after his 40th birthday, and it improved their relationship, nothing, you know, hundredfold. And she approached him and made an effort sexually, and it was quite incredible how that shifted the balance. You know, a man's genitals are his lifeblood. They are where he procreates from. That's where he gives from. That's his whole masculine way. So I don't think it's down to us to tear that down, pull it down, and basically say, oh, he's always obsessed with sex. That's just the way it is, girls. And I think when you get the balance right, it's fantastic, and it can be amazing for both people. And really what I want to say is, you know, we have the vagina, we are the receptacle for our men, and it's the way it is. It's like the tribal ancient history of men and women. And what's wrong with that? For me, there is nothing wrong with that. I think it's perfectly fine when I want my man to feel like a real man. And I'm aware that being a yang woman in the past, I have actually not disabled that ability in him, particularly maybe in the sexual department. You know, girls, we don't have cocks, right? So let's not wear them in bed or out of bed, because it doesn't really work. Yes, and I've got some words here from my current spiritual teacher, which I would really like to share with you. So, yeah, a man's love language this is his love language. So don't slag him off and basically tell him to man up or grow a pair. You need to be leading him in a way, and then you can step into your authentic feminine essence in this department. And it's not being about subservient. True lovemaking for me is an amazing balance of giving and receiving, and we have different equipment, as I've said before, and I think there's nothing wrong with appreciating your man through that, with his love language being his manhood. And why not? I'm slightly nervous talking about this because I know sometimes that it's a contentious subject, but I think that if we as young women want to step into our authentic feminine more, we do need to honour our men more in that way, because if we want them to step up, that's the best way to do it. So I'd love to leave you with this to ponder. We have had 10,000 years of the inauthentic masculine destroying the feminine, and the inauthentic feminine colluding with this destruction through compliance, dependence, and being a victim. It is time for the authentic feminine, the yin woman, to heal the broken masculine, and the authentic masculine to heal the broken, raped and pillaged feminine. So when you think about how our world is now and how women have been nurturer and nest builders and stepped up into hunter-gatherer just by very default of the way life is going, again, it's not wrong. It's just an observation. One of the greatest areas for challenge for women who are very yang is their relationships, and I think that focusing on, it's not just intimacy. Intimacy comes in all forms, but a man's love language is his cock. And if you want to see a shift in his divine, authentic masculine, then go all out to appreciate him in that way, because it works. I've done it myself. I know other women who are much more yin than me, and it works for them. So do you take your part? Are you willing to take your part? Or are you, as a young woman, going to turn around and say, no, it's not my job, he needs to lead me? But who's going to do it first? If we drive our energy in such a way, then maybe it's down to us to lead them into this place of authentic masculinity so that they can allow us to be in our authentic feminine energy. So that's it, girls. Go and worship your man's phallus. You heard it here. It's a great thing. Enjoy. And I honour you, I salute you, and I love you, young woman. See you on the next transmission.